Do you believe in ghosts? Because for the last 15 years, a phantom has been haunting the dreams of horsepower junkies everywhere. It was a machine so wild, so unnecessary, and so utterly powerful that it became a myth the moment it vanished from the showroom floors. We thought it was gone forever. We thought Suzuki had grown too sensible, too focused on efficiency and emissions to ever build something this crazy again. But the silence has finally been broken. The rumors you've seen on the forums, they weren't just wishful thinking, they were a warning. The king has returned to reclaim its throne. Ladies and gentlemen, strap yourselves in, because you are looking at the 2026 Suzuki B-King. And it is here to remind the world that there is no replacement for displacement. Introduction. A legacy of excess. To understand the gravity of this launch, we have to rewind the clock. When the original B-King launched back in 2007, it was like an alien spacecraft had crash-landed on Earth. It was essentially a stripped-down Hayabusa that looked like a transformer mid-shift. It was heavy, it was wide, and it was absolutely glorious. But the world wasn't quite ready for it then. The Hypernaked category was in its infancy. Fast forward to 2026, and the landscape is a war zone. You have the Streetfighter V4, the Super Duke, the M1000R. Suzuki looked at this battlefield filled with tech-heavy, razor-sharp machines and decided it was time to drop a nuclear option. This new B-King isn't just a nostalgic nod to the past, it is a complete reimagining of what a muscle bike should be in the modern era. Design, philosophy, shoulders like a linebacker. Let's talk about the visual impact, because the 2026 B-King is not a motorcycle you look at. It is a motorcycle you experience. If the old B-King was bulky, the 2026 model is ripped. Suzuki has kept that iconic, broad-shouldered silhouette, the massive fuel tank that spreads your legs and makes you feel like you are riding a bison, but they have sharpened every single edge. The design team calls it brutal elegance. The front end is dominated by a predatory, low-slung LED headlight cluster that looks like it is staring right through your soul. And yes, the twin exhaust cannons are back, but they aren't the plastic-clad buckets of the past. They are angular, carbon-tipped titanium sculptures that integrate seamlessly into the tail section, screaming performance from every angle. The heart of the beast. 1340cc of pure fury. Now, for the part that matters most. What is beating inside this Leviathan? Suzuki has taken the legendary Gen 3 Hayabusa engine, that bulletproof, iconic 1340cc inline-4, and retuned it specifically for street domination. We are talking about power figures hovering around the 195 horsepower mark, but the horsepower is just a number. The torque is the real story here. Suzuki engineers have shifted the power band lower into the RPM range. This thing doesn't just accelerate, it teleports. You twist the throttle at 3,000 RPM, and it feels like you've been rear-ended by a freight train. There is no waiting for a turbo to spool, just instant, atmospheric violence that stretches your arms and blurs your peripheral vision. It is an engine that feels limitless, providing a wave of thrust that makes every other bike on the road feel significantly underpowered. Chassis and handling. Dancing with a giant. You might be thinking, sure, it goes fast in a straight line, but can it turn? This is where the 2026 model silences the critics. The original B-King was a heavy girl, but the new chassis is a marvel of modern engineering. Suzuki has utilized a new twin-spar aluminum frame that is significantly lighter and stiffer than its predecessor. They have paired this with top-tier, fully adjustable KYB suspension front and rear. The result is a bike that defies physics. It still has that planted, big bike stability that gives you confidence at high speeds, but it tips into corners with a surprising amount of agility. It's not a 600cc supersport, and it doesn't pretend to be. It's a heavyweight boxer with the footwork of a dancer, capable of carving canyons just as well as it crushes quarter miles. The surprise feature, the Launchmaster system. I promised you a surprise, And this is the feature that is going to bind you to this video because nobody saw this coming. We all know the B-King is a drag strip monster at heart. Well, Suzuki has leaned into that identity by introducing a patent-pending technology called the Suzuki Active Launch Geometry. Unlike standard launch controls that just cut ignition, to stop wheelies, this system actually interacts with the electronic rear suspension. When you engage drag mode, the rear shock automatically softens and squats the bike by 20 millimeters just before you dump the clutch. This lowers the center of gravity and preloads the rear tire for maximum traction, mimicking the setup of a pro drag bike. It is a piece of active aerodynamic and suspension tech that turns a traffic light start into a space shuttle launch. It is totally unnecessary for the street, and that is exactly why it is so incredibly cool. Electronics and tech. Taming the monster. In the old days, the B-King was a handful because your only safety net was your right wrist. The 2026 model changes the game with the introduction of the SIR's, Suzuki Intelligent Ride System. You get a 6-axis IMU that manages traction control, wheelie control, and cornering ABS. But the beauty of this system is how transparent it is. It doesn't feel like a computer is fighting you. It feels like the bike is reading your mind. The cockpit features a stunning 5-inch TFT color display that finally brings phone connectivity, turn-by-turn navigation, and music controls into the mix. Suzuki has managed to add all this modern convenience without ruining the raw, mechanical connection that B-King fans crave. The verdict: who is this for? So is the 2026 Suzuki B-King the right bike for you? If you are a sensible commuter looking for fuel economy, look away. If you are a track day purist chasing the lightest lap time, this isn't it. This bike is for the rider who wants presence. It is for the person who parks their bike and looks back at it 3 times before walking into the house. It is for the rider who misses the days when motorcycles were raw, loud, and slightly intimidating. In a world of clinical, precise, and polite motorcycles, the B-King is a sledgehammer. It's heavy, it's loud, and it's unapologetically aggressive. Suzuki didn't build this to make sense on a spreadsheet. They built it to make a statement on the street. Outro. Join the inner circle. We have only scratched the surface of what this machine can do. There are rumors of a limited edition carbon variant coming later this year, and you do not want to be the last one to know about it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the return of the King, do not forget to smash that like button. It really helps the algorithm show this beast to more riders. We are currently working on a comparison video putting the new B-King up against the Ducati DFL V4, and trust me, the results are shocking. To make sure you don't miss that showdown, hit subscribe and ring the notification bell. For the most up-to-date leaks, honest reviews, and news that the big magazines are afraid to print, make sure you are locked in right here at Bike Updater Pro. Thanks for watching, keep the rubber side down, and I'll see you in the next one.